General, let's focus on America then. What are our nuclear capabilities? I'm obviously going over a lot on the show tonight. I have someone coming on talking about Russia's and China's. We don't really talk about ours. How many do we have? How many ways do we have to deploy them? What's our stockpile like?
Yeah, so we maintain a nuclear triad, so that means threes. And so what you end up seeing is that we have strategic intercontinental ballistic missiles. They are essentially on alert all the time. So when Putin said that he had elevated his strategic nuclear forces, ours are like that all the time. They are ready to respond at all times. But over and above that, and you're going to see that those numbers are in the thousands, not in the 2000s, but generally in the thousands. You're also going to see two other elements that basically work with each other. One is a submarine force that can be forward-based quite close to whoever our competitors are or whoever threatens us. And they're at sea at all times. There are nuclear capabilities, fired from missiles under the water at all times. And then finally, you have our bomber force with strategic bombing, strategic nuclear weapons. So it's a triad. And is it possible to try to defeat one portion of that, maybe even two? Yeah, absolutely, if you attack America. But the whole concept of mutually assured destruction that we've had with us and our competitors over the last 50 to 60 years has been based upon this other element, that even if you try to destroy our land-based systems or our air-based systems, the submarine-based ones will catch you and destroy your country as well. I know this sounds crazy. It's right out of Dr. Strangelove. For most Americans, they probably think I'm an idiot talking about this kind of level of warfare where you're basically destroying much of the earth and most of the population. But this mutually assured destruction between us and the former Soviet Union, now the Russians, and then also the Chinese, has been able to maintain a level of peace around the world because no one's been crazy enough to try to violate it. We've gotten pretty close. The Cuban Missile Crisis was closer than I think most folks wanted, to do or to talk about. That's been a very long time. Most of our listeners and viewers were not alive during that time frame. I was a kid,
General, I'm going to nerd out on a couple details here just because I don't know, and I think other people don't know. You mentioned ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. What are our capabilities there? Can we fire one from America and land it anywhere in the world? What kind of range are we talking about on these things, and what kind of accuracy?
Yeah, so I mean, both you're nailing it right in the head, and I'll say both of those, your latter two questions, range and accuracy, are classified if I give exact numbers. So let me just say this.
Okay.
They are located inside the United States. It's not really that much of a secret in the states that they are located in silos. They're on alert all the time. There are people there ready to go 24/7, and they do rehearsals all the time. And they can hit anywhere that our foes are inside the globe and do it in a very significant way. Let me just say the numbers are very, very high. And they are multiple capabilities within each missile. Let's just leave it at that. So the range issue, the ability to do this, reach out and strike our enemies is absolutely there. And as I've said, for 70 years, this has been a major deterrent against anybody out there.
Okay, and finally the submarines, and I understand there's going to be all kinds of classified stuff here too, so I understand what you can divulge and what you can't, but you mentioned these things are always at sea. Doesn't our enemy know where our submarines are, or wouldn't he if they approached land somewhere?
So we have a number of different submarines at sea, actually submarines that, seek out and are ready to attack, surface vessels and other different types of missions of that nature, some that actually do special operations in some cases. And then you have the large submarines that are meant to be always at sea in a posture that they could, at almost no notice, very, very quickly respond to a nuclear attack on our country. So let me just say that they are always pre-positioned in places that you might think make sense. Sometimes you're going to hear about our submarines or others wandering around, getting close to either a competitor's continent or something like that. Those are probably not the ones that we're referring to. The ones that we were referring to are going to be in an area where they have a quick flight, but it doesn't necessarily need to be direct. As you know, these are going to go essentially into space and then come back on down. Let me just say that they're postured and they're ready, and they have been ready for decades to be that final deterrent for our country.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.